See, good evening. Today means our topic of discussion will be your classes and objects. So classes, objects, constructors, so all those things will be taking into account. Now, as you might be knowing it, that when we are talking about classes, functions and objects, so let us just start out with the factorial of a number. So now you might be well aware of this particular program in your class also, because in class 10th as well as in class 11th, so you have been doing this particular program which is regarding your factorial. So now what we need to start with is, first you need to, since first you will be using this particular import statement. So if you want to ask anything from the user, so here it will be java.util. So this particular statement, as you might be aware, that this is called a package statement and class, and now your ABC or whatever name you can just write it, fact, or you can just write here factorial. So this will be a class name, and inside this, as you might be aware, that we'll be using your main method. Or you can just try out globally certain statements like scanner class. You can do one thing. Here the public static void main method will be there. Certain variables you can obviously declare as the like int, f, and okay, and n, so which will be asked from the user. Public static void main. Now inside this, so what you will be doing is that first you need to ask the value from the user. For that you need to use your scanner class. System.in. Now, so this n, so you need to just use a print statement in order to ask the value. It will be bringing out a message. Enter a value or a number, so as the message you are comfortable with, and over here what you need to write is n equal to sc.nextInt. Now, since we are going to invoke a method out here, so first you need to declare an object of the class, create an object, instantiate it. So the class name is factorial. So that's why I'm just creating an object by the name of OB equal to new factorial. Then your OB dot, some methods we are going to call, like the method name will be your find fact, and that will be passed an argument. Now over here also you can do one thing. Or you can just make it non-parameterized also. I'll be passing the parameter out in the constructor only. So this particular statement will be directly invoking the constructor. So ob.findFact. Now a constructor by the same name. Now you might be aware that a constructor is similar to a method, since we cannot use your any return type, not even void, along with the constructor. And its basic purpose in a program is to initialize the variables. So now what we are going to do is, out here again the factorial, this thing will be there. The constructor name. So now inside this will be simply initializing the whatever it's passed. So it will be just getting into n equal to nn. Now we'll be making use of a find fact function or method. Now that will be containing the sole logic of the entire program. So in this, what you need to do is, so you'll have to just initialize this f equal to 1, since we need to. Factorial means what? Means whatever number is there, you might be aware that supposingly the number is 5, so whatever number comes before it, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you just need to find the product of those particular numbers and you'll be getting your factorial. So for that you will be starting a loop. So over here what you can do is, for I equal to 1 and I less than or equal to n, I plus plus, and now coming to the next one, like f equal to f into I. We can also introduce one display method, so in which the ultimate output of that particular program will be checked, ob.display. Now after this, you will be just closing this method and you will be introducing one method by check or display. So void display. Over here what you will be writing is that system.out.println the factorial of plus f plus it's n plus is, you need to concatenate all these particular variables with the message. Now you need to just close this. This is a part of your display method, and at the last you will be closing this method. So now this is the program in which you are making use of, that means your methods, constructor, as well as your, that means the static void main method is the main calling method, in which what it does is, so it creates an object, it invokes the different methods, and after that you will be finding that the logic which is there in the method, so that is being displayed, whatever the result is being there, so that particular result is being means we are getting to know from this particular method called display. So now taking the next set of example. Now we have got a program regarding here whether a number is a special number or not. Now first let me explain you that what is a special number. So special number is a number from which when the digits get extracted, and after the extraction of the digits, so you will be finding that the factorial of those digits are being found out, and then the summation of those factorials, so they are being taken, and then we get the result. And if the result or the resultant number it's equivalent to the original number which we have inputted, so that will be your special number. So let me give you an example. So in this you will be finding a number called 145. Now when you extract the digits, so you might be well aware of this, that the extraction of the digits always takes from the units place. So here first we take up the 5. So now first when the process for extraction of the digit is being done, so we take up we come up with the digit 5, and simultaneously we find the factorial of this 5, which comes out to be your 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, and the resultant comes out to be 120. So in a similar way, so then the digit at the tens place gets extracted. So the moment the digit gets extracted, then we are finding the factorial of the digits. So 4, so what is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4? So that will be coming to be around 24. And now when the digit at the hundreds place get extracted, so you'll be finding that the factorial of 1 is 1 itself. So therefore the result is 1. Now when you add it up, so you get back your original number which you have inputted. So that's why 145 turns out to be your special number. So now let us just try to understand this. How do you convert this entire concept into a program? So if you want to take the input from the user, so then again you can use the same set of sequence. Like first you need to use the import statement, so wherein that import java.util.package statement, so which supports the concept of your scanner class. And finally the scanner class, it supports a method for taking the input as a next int, and using that method you can just take the input from the user. So here class I am just using here special, and over here you can do two things, that instead of invoking one method you can just try out invoking another method also. Now class special, so inside this you will be first, I am just declaring certain global variables, so which if need arises will be increasing the number of variables more. I, f, d, x, certain variables you can just take it n, and now you need to make the duplicate copy of that variable also. Now the reason for introducing this variable called n1, so what is the need? The need is that supposingly during the extraction of the digits process, so you might have noticed that the originality of the digits, they get to nowhere, they turn into 0. So that's why to retain the original number, so we create a duplicate variable by the name of n1, and then we just store it over there. Now I'll be just introducing your static void main method. I won't be taking any input from the user. Let us take the number like n equal to 145 only. Now when you take this particular number, you will simultaneously store it somewhere also, or like this way you can just do it. n1 equal to n. Now first we'll be creating an object special ob equal to new special, now after this what we are going to do is that we'll be invoking certain methods, or if you just want to introduce a constructor, so you can just pass on to this particular constructor this variable name by the name of n. Now ob dot, first you need to extract the digits, and over here, so what I'll be using is your constructor. So constructor will be the same name as this particular class name, which in our case is special. So here also we'll be using the word special only, and followed by certain variable by nn. Now n equal to nn. So this particular, we are storing the whatever it's being received by the constructor, so it will be getting stored in n also. Now what we are going to do is, so you will have to make use of while loop for extraction of the digits while n greater than 0. So that means this particular loop will be continuing its task till the value of n it's bigger than 0. So there will be certain operations out here, so that will be just making it the number till it's greater than 0. So over here what we will be doing is, So d equal to n modulus 10. So this will be extracting the units place, and then we need to just introduce one more variable by the name of s. The initialization, it should be done over here only, because the initialization of the variable, it cannot be done outside the method body. So that's why d equal to n modulus 10, and after that s equal to s plus. Now from within here I am going to call the factorial. I'll be just invoking the fact, and then, or you can make use of your nested loop, so that will also be doing it same thing. And then the n equal to n by 10. Now that means I am calling one more method from inside it. Here I will be using int fact, and here you can use any variable instead of d. I've just used here p. Now in this I'll be starting a loop, and this f I have introduced, so I'll need to introduce this f equal to 1 inside it, and over here I'll be starting a loop so as to start with the process of extracting the digit, finding the factorial. For equal to 1, I less than or equal to your p I plus plus, so f equal to f asterisk I. Now inside this I'll be using a return statement. Now return f will be there. Now at the last what we can do is, so means here these particular two methods, they are interconnected with each other. When the process gets started, so what happens is it obviously starts with the main method, and then from the main method we are initializing certain variables, or you could have asked the things from the user also, that n equal to 145, n1 equal to n, and then this we have created an object special OB, and so ob.extract digit is there. Now over here what you will be getting is, now we need to introduce one more method which goes by the name of check. So you can just write it that void check. Now in this particular method what you will be doing is that if this particular program, now you see what ultimately our program is going to do. So in this case, when the extract digit is being called, first when the initialization of the value is being done, so that means the variable is getting stored in n. Now we have created a duplicate copy of the variable, and which is being stored in your n1. Now over here you will be finding that special OB equal to new special, and then OB dot extract digit. So now what is this? What is the importance of this statement? What is the importance of this statement? That this particular statement will be invoking So automatically the constructor will be invoked. And what is the purpose of using the constructor? So the main purpose of using the constructor is to initialize this particular variable. So and now the original variable or the value that is being passed, so it gets stored over into nn, and now the value which is being stored in nn, so that gets stored to n. Now we'll be continuing with the same process, that ob equal to new special, and then ob dot extract digit is there. So here a method can be used. So over here you'll be finding that op.check is there. If s double equal to, now here this particular method I will be just rectifying it. Now here you'll be finding that I am just introducing word extract digit. Now the constructor, it's just stopped over there. Now in this particular method what we are doing is, so we are just checking the loop, introducing a loop, and this loop is going to work till the value of n, it stands out to be greater than 0. So now d equal to n modulus 10. So s equal to s plus fact of d. So this will be extracting the digit units place, and then simultaneously we need to find out the factorial. So instead of introducing a nested loop, so what I did was, so I just introduced this summation part out here. So here you can just introduce a variable called s equal to 0, s equal to s plus fact of d. So at this point of time, so the fact, this is the name of the function, another function or another method. So it's being called from inside the function. So now for this it will be passing an argument of this particular digit being extracted, and it will be passed on to p. So now we normally follow that the normal process of your loop, so which is for your finding the factorial of the digit being passed to it, and then since the method, so that is being having an int before it, the method name. So what will happen is that return f is there, so that means it's going to return a value. So this particular calculated value, it will be returned to this particular function by the name of fact, and whatever factorial is being coming, so that will be just added up with a variable called s. So in a similar way this process will be repeated till all the digits gets extracted. So now at the last I'm just going to call this method check. So because we need to check for that means the variable whether it's equivalent to, that means the original number of not. So s will be holding the summation, so therefore s double equal to n. So now we cannot use n, since the originality of the number that is being it is not there. So if s double equal to n1, since we already stored a duplicate copy of that variable out here, and now if s double equal to n1, so we can just write here system.out.println special, or otherwise else not a special number. So now coming to the next topic of finding a prime number in the similar concept. So let's give it a try. So basically, what is a prime number? So we are all aware about that. The prime number is a number which is divisible by 1 in itself. 1 in itself only. Like in the case, you might be aware that 1 is there, 2 is there, 3 is there, 5 is there, 7 is there, and then your 11 is there. So all these are set of prime numbers. Now what is the basic concept underlying between it? So the basic concept that lies behind it is that first we need to just pick up a number. So let's just start with the program. Here you can ask the value from the user also. So import java.util.asterisk. So this is the package statement you need to use whenever you want to ask the input from the user. And then class, suppose we just use here prime. Now inside this you can just declare certain global variables like int I, suppose count, certain variables you can use, and n, which will be definitely asked from the user. And then I'll be introducing a static void main method out here. Now over here what we need to do is we need to use a scanner class. System.in, and over here what we need to do is, so first we need to ask the value from the user. System.out.println, enter a number, and then n equal to sc.nextInt. Now if need arises, you can just introduce your concept of a constructor also. The basic purpose of a constructor is to just that means initialize the variable. I'll be just using here that first I need to make a object. So the class name is prime, so the object name I've just written is ob equal to new prime, and over here you can just pass on to this variable by the name of n, which you have taken as input from the user, and then ob.check prime. So this is the user defined method which will be basically checking for a prime number. So now let's get back to the constructor concept. So here it will be prime. Here you can take one local variable by the name of nn, and then you can initialize it. This particular global variable is there only. So n equal to nn. Now I'll be introducing one user defined method by the name of check prime. So void check prime, so now void check prime, so we'll be utilizing the normal concept. So what it will be there? So basically first what will be making use of a loop, and inside this you'll have to initialize a variable, the count, which we have declared as global. So count is 0. Now over here, for I equal to, now since the original concept that will be lying beyond within this concept is for checking of the prime number. Suppose we take a prime number which is say 6, so leaving 1 and 6, so we'll be taking all the numbers which are less than 6, leaving 1 and 6, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So first, when 6 gets divided by 2, so the remainder turns out to be 0. So in this case, since the remainder turns out to be 0, so that means even if by any of the numbers which are placed before it, so it gets divisible, so then the that particular number can be declared to be as not a prime number. But when we declare, suppose your 5, let us take the example of 5. So in this case, leaving 1 and 5, so what are the numbers lying beyond it or below it? 2, 3 and 4. So 5 first gets divided by 2, so the remainder doesn't come out to be 0. Now similarly, then we proceed with the next number in the example. So 5 divided by 3, so even then the divisibility, it's not 0. And then 5 divided with 4, so then also the divisibility is not 0, the remainder doesn't come out to be 0. So only in this particular case the 5 turns out to be, that means your prime number. Now let us get the programmatic aspect of this particular concept. So for I equal to, now here we'll be starting a loop. So I less than equal to n or less than n, I plus plus. Now what we'll be doing is, so we'll be checking the original number, which is your n. If n modulus I double equal to 0, then count plus plus. So we increment the variable of count by one step, and after that, if so we just stop here and we need to use here break statement, because we won't be continuing the loop. Now at the last, what you need to check, if count greater than 0, so SOPLN or system.out.println not a prime number. Else system.out.println prime number. Now this particular method, so means making of this method, so you can check out for a prime number. Now suppose let us try out one series based program. Now supposingly the series is 1 plus x of 1 factorial plus x to the power 2 by 2 factorial plus x to the power 3 by 3 factorial by 4 factorial, and that too it will be standing up to x to the power n by n factorial. So now in order to solve this kind of problem, so first we need to decide on two things, that we need to take the input and the limit. So both the things as input from the user only. So what we'll be doing is that class, you can just name the class as series. Over here you need to start with the public static void main method. Now if you want to ask the number from the user, so you can just make your use of this import java.util.asterisk. This is the name of the default package which you need to use it while taking the input from the user, and then after that you need to just ask the users that suppose I'm just asking the limit as well as the value for n, or you can just ask the value for x and limit will be represented by n, and a loop variable which goes by the name of I. Okay. Over here what you'll be doing is system.out.println, enter the value for n or n and x simultaneously, you can ask it. N equal to sc.nextInt, x equal to sc.nextInt, and then so I'll be invoking certain functions out here, like first we need to, before invoking we need to create an object, series ob equal to new series, ob.check or calc series, we can just write it. And inside this, so what you'll be doing is, so first we'll be just closing this, and then a method by the name of calc series we can introduce it. So void calc series. Now in this series what you need to start is you need to use a loop. So for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus. So what I'll be doing is I'll have to start the entire process of your calculation, so which is your x by, so x plus, so this will be something like this. You need to introduce one more variable by the name of s equal to 0, so s equal to s plus x by, and then we need to find out the factorial of the value I itself. So what you can do is you can pass or you can call simultaneously fact of I. We'll be introducing one more function out here. So that will be a factorial only, and void fact int n, you can just use it from within this function body only. I am calling it. int, I'll be introducing one global variable out here. So this should be initialized inside this. S comma f equal to 1 for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to f, I plus plus f equal to f into I So now this entire concept will be automatically, or you can just introduce one more variable by the name of display. That void display and over here you can just simply write the print statement. The sum of the series turns out to be pluses. So this you can do it. So in a similar way, some more questions can be tried out. So for which I'll be just giving you an example. In some sample programs, you can give it a try using the same set of methods. The first one we did out only, the next one will be your s equal to 1 plus x by factorial of 2 plus x square by factorial of 3 plus x 3 by factorial of 4. So up to this you will be reaching up to x to the power n by n factorial, n plus 1. Now this is the first one. The second one which you can give it a try. So it will be something like this. S equal to x square by 1 factorial plus x4 by 3 factorial plus x6 by 5 factorial plus x twice n by twice n minus 1 factorial. So we'll be closing this session for today out here. So if any problem comes, you can please post it in your class group. Thank you.